Hi, I'm Lauren Bryant, twin mum, event host, and award-winning small business specialist with a background in automotive and finance. I'm coming up to 10 years of Empower House, where I've helped hundreds of women streamline and scale their business. The greatest thing I've built, though, is an incredible community through my events, the Brunch Club. In over 70 live events, I've created thousands of connections and raised tens of thousands of dollars for charity. Most of all, I created a no-pressure networking space for women to feel seen, heard, and supported. This podcast is an extension of that, where I can share what I've learned, bring amazing speakers to share their story, and keep living the Empower House values: community, empowerment, and education. If you are an ambitious woman in business, welcome. This is for you. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's guest is Deb Szabo, who is an AI strategist, Claude specialist, Anthropic Partner Network member, an educator, speaker, podcast host, and content creator based in the beautiful Hunter Valley wine country. Welcome, Deb. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. Great to chat.
It is my pleasure. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I help business owners with essentially their marketing to get visible and also drive revenue. That's it in a nutshell. How I do that is probably a bit more complex. I've been in marketing and business for the last 30 years. And over that time, there's been a lot of changes, but there are some things that still stay the same. And that is connection with people and the importance of that. And over that time, especially over the last 5 years, video has been a really big part of how we connect with people when we weren't able to be there in person. And then the evolution of marketing has now seen the era of AI. And so for me, I feel that that's just another tool in our toolbox to help us get visible and connect with our audience. And so I help people with creating business systems to make their life easier and do tasks smarter and basically give them back capacity to do the things they never get around to doing.
The things that they actually got into business to do sometimes.
Absolutely. That is exactly right. I speak to a lot of business owners who are creative in their own right. You know, I'm based in the Hunter Valley. I'm surrounded by winemakers and they make wine. And we've also got a lovely artist community around here as well. And they do art. And so we want to give business owners back the capacity of what they love doing the most, you know?
Yes. So you work with a lot of non-techie types who I know as well, doing systems, that they get a little bit overwhelmed by the idea of having to move from the thing that they've always done into a more technical side of things where things are automated and stuff. So how do you get people to move from that casually using AI, chatting to ChatGPT, that sort of stuff, into installing Claude and making that a reliable assistant?
Yeah, look, the biggest thing when I'm dealing with non-technical people, and, you know, I wouldn't necessarily regarded myself as non-technical over the years, but apparently I am. It's like the biggest thing is giving people a glimpse of how it can transform what they do or don't do now and showing it to them in a really easy way. And the first step that I help people do is I give them a business bestie. And it doesn't, so you're saying about Claude and ChatGPT, I work across all AI because I believe that, you know, it's moving so fast that we need to have awareness of all, platforms. But the biggest thing I do is give them a business bestie, which is like their personal assistant. So you go from just chatting with AI to actually getting it to do the task, because let's face it, who doesn't want their own personal assistant to actually do things for them, right? And none of us can, or many of us don't have it in our budget to be able to have a right-hand person that can actually just go, hey, can you go and grab that email? Can you go and fill out that form? Can you go and give me the information about this? And so for me, AI is a tool that we can use to give them that capacity to do that they wouldn't otherwise do, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And do you see people making some big mistakes when it comes to training that AI to match their brand voice or the messaging and that sort of stuff?
Look, I have one of my biggest things is I don't ever feel like we make mistakes. I feel that we're in a journey of evolution, and sometimes you have to, do it wrong to do it right. And so for me, I feel like for anyone that is starting out, it's just about dipping your toe in the water, getting more confident, using it to the point that you're like, okay, of course there are better ways to do things, but mistakes, no. I feel like that if you're just starting, even just chatting with ChatGPT, that's fantastic because it means that you're just getting familiar with the interface. And then you can then start to move up to, okay, how can I get better intelligence from it? How can I get it to not give me like generic answers that it gives everyone else? And then you can then move up to the next part of it where it's giving you better brand intelligence, which is why I help businesses create their own AI brain for their business. So it knows them, it understands their business, and it can do the task quicker because it has the foundations there in business to just execute.
Yeah, amazing. You mentioned having a business bestie or a personal assistant, and we used to think that you needed to scale a business with a big team and having the big office and all of that sort of stuff. So how has this tech flipped that on its head for the solo operators especially?
Oh, look, I think AI gives solo operators the capacity of 10 people. Where we were competing for larger businesses that were operating like machines with different departments to do all the tasks, we can do that now as solo business operators. And so it's not just about having, there's a lot of talk about agents and things like that. For me, it's not about having, 20 agents to do things. It's about having one agent that has all the filing folder structure that can do the job of 20 people. And that's where you can then go and have your personal assistant that focuses on business development, that focuses on finance, that focuses on social media, that focuses on marketing. So you can literally set up your own departments as you would compete with a team of 10. So as a solo operator myself, it's one of the things that I work on of having those systems in place so I can do the job of many. And like I had a VA last year, and when she left, I hadn't replaced her, not because I don't want to replace that position. It's just that I can now automate that position. So when I put somebody else in my community, I want them to be in a more customer service facing, where I could remove them from. So for me, it's about setting up those systems that when the next person comes in, that they're able to do their job better, faster, and smarter.
I love that. And what are you using in your business? How are you having all of the AI help you run your business?
Yeah, so you mentioned before Claude. So for me, when ChatGPT, came live for everybody, I was one of those people. It's like the first in, oh, how can I use this? And then pretty quickly I learned that ChatGPT couldn't search the internet in real time. It couldn't cite sources. As a marketer, that is one of my biggest, most important things. And I was put onto a platform called Perplexity, and I still use it to this day because it is a research queen, and it gathers information. It allows me to use multiple different AI platforms. So I got back then an understanding and the nuance of how different ChatGPT was to Claude and to Gemini. And so then I started building AI business systems in there and to help with specific tasks. So we're on a podcast right now. For me, my podcast, I wanted to make sure I had optimized titles and show notes and then distribution. And so AI could help me do that. So then I started to build the operating systems for my community. I run an online community and called Contact Catalyst that helps businesses with their marketing. So of course, I shared that with my community, and those tools could then help them with their content marketing creation. Then from there, I created, obviously ChatGPT is the place that most people start. So then again, with the evolution of AI, it caught up very quickly. So then I set everything up in ChatGPT for people to adopt. And these days, because of what's happened so quickly with Claude, Claude very quickly became a powerful tool for, again, solo operators, because it could not only just talk to you, it could do the task as well. So with the introduction this year of Claude Co-work, it then became possible for the average business owner who is non-techie to get in and have a conversation and then have it do the task through what we call skills and connectors and automations and scheduled tasks and workflows. And so all these things then made it really easy that I didn't need to be a developer, as in my clients, my customers, my community. They didn't need to be a developer in order to use AI for business tasks. They didn't need to know all the jargon. They just need to have the foundations and then know how to ask.
That's amazing.
But in saying that now, like even this week, it's like ChatGPT, they just play cat and mouse with each other. The one just drops something else and then the next one. So, what Claude could do, last month, ChatGPT can do this month. Which gives us as a consumer lots of options, but that's why having that agnostic approach of AI and knowing the fundamentals allows you to then go wherever you need to go.
Yes, for sure. It's just so much more accessible now than it ever was.
Are you using AI in your business? How do you use it?
Yeah, I've got several things that I'm using. I have Descript, and I use the editing tools within that. So recording my podcast right now, we're sitting in a Descript room, and then that will allow me to edit the podcast. And rather than having to go absolutely through every single sentence and listen to it all and chop it down, it can take out all of my ums and ahs and all of that sort of stuff and make clips for me, which obviously helps on the content creation side. I'm using Go High Level, so I've got workflows and automations in there. I have just started setting up my Claude. I also have Gemini. I have Perplexity myself as well. I was using ChatGPT, but I've moved it over to Gemini because I've got it all hooked up to my Google Drive as well, so I can read all of that. I've got notebooks set up with Gemini as well, so I've done brain dumps and all that sort of stuff in there to make custom gems. So I've got a few different things going on, but I really enjoy tech. I've always been a bit of a nerd.
Yeah.
And so playing with stuff is kind of how I do my work. I pick up a system and work out how it can help me, and then obviously that is something I can transfer to my clients and their work as well.
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest things that came evident for me when I started doing this was to have those foundations set up. And that's why I then started to create 2 diagnostic tools to help diagnose and extract out of people's brain their business and then their brand. And so that's essentially what I do. Like tomorrow, I've got a 2-day immersive day where I spend 2 days with the business owner, and we use my business DNA diagnostic tool, and we just sit there and we pull all of those golden threads out of their business, out of their brain, because that's often where, it's like they have sort of systems here and there. So what we do is consolidate all of that. We identify the business opportunities through where the leaks are and where the the growth opportunities are, but we then put it in a document to be able to use that as intelligence, and then that works with the brand DNA, which again extracts all of how you want it to sound and how you don't want it to sound. So that way, those two intelligence documents straight away gives AI the immediate benefit that you can just delegate very quickly and easily with confidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is one thing I find people don't understand or realise maybe about systems, is that it is only ever going to be as good as the data that you put in.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they go, oh, that didn't work for me and this hasn't worked for me. And it's like, well, I can understand that maybe there's a learning curve, but also you have to have great data to put in for any of these things to work. And if you're not using the software, the system, the AI, whatever it is, to its potential, then it probably isn't going to work very well for you. It's going to feel a bit beige.
And the other thing to note with that, I see a lot of business owners is it's the old paper wall scenario. It's like we created this system or this workflow 3 years ago or 5 years ago when the business was at this level, and we have a reason why we've always done it this way. But as soon as you sort of pressure test and push on it, it's no longer valid. And this is why, like, anyone can create 2 documents for their business and brand DNA. But what I do is get into that strategy to really peel back those layers, to just pressure test it, to go, is that still valid, or is that still a real belief? So that way you can then come in with fresh eyes and go, okay, just because we did it that way 3 years ago doesn't mean it's always this way. And so that information that you just said with systems comes sometimes just back to, we created that system 3 years ago and we haven't reviewed it until now. So when you set up those AI, assistants or agents or whatever, workflows that you're doing, if you can do nothing else, it's a really nice time to check in with your business, right? And see if it still holds true, or was it just because we've always done it that way?
Yeah. How often do you get your clients to check back in with their businesses?
So in our community, we do like a quarterly, we do actually a monthly planning session, but just forward of checking in, of going, this is our content, this is our offer, this is what our businesses focus on. But we do an annual planning session, and then we do a quarterly check-in as well. Look, here's the thing with now, again, with AI, it's about that data is readily available. And I've worked in businesses for many years that if people have to go hunting for reports and hunting for data, they don't look at it, right? And so therefore, for me, again, this is another reason why I love using, Claude or whatever you use, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, is that I can take those reports and grab a multitude of data from everywhere. And instead of spending weeks and weeks and weeks trying to crunch it and find the patterns, I can hand it to my business bestie, and it can literally go through and find all the nuanced data that I would never see. And that pattern recognition tells a story, right? It tells a story is that you're doing this and that's why that's working, or you're not doing this and that's why that's not working. So for me, that's a massive advantage to any solo operator, is that who's got time to sit there and crawl through spreadsheets? Who's got time to sit there and pull through all your social media stats from all the different platforms and really delve into it? But that is the intelligence that we need in front of us. That's why having dashboards in your AI is fantastic, right?
Yes. Yeah. And we're speaking a little bit about being found on AI search as well as Google search and that sort of stuff. That seems to be a pretty interesting topic on social media, especially at the moment. So what we know about traditional Google, SEO, that sort of stuff, and now it's obviously shifting into Claude and Perplexity. And so how are people actually meant to get discovered by AI search? What are we doing now to help us be more visible?
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest deep dives that I'm being obsessed about this year. And I've done a lot of work even on my own business and my own brand to make sure that I can get discovered with AI. So look, Google just a couple of months ago, I don't know, I lose track of time these days, but they announced that they've made the biggest changes to the Google search bar in 25 years, right? So they've gone, no one just goes to the search bar anymore and goes, restaurant, Hunter Valley. They're going, I want to go to the Hunter Valley on Friday with my friends. We want to go to dinner and we need somewhere that does gluten-free food. So they're putting all that information in. And so Google now takes all that information and goes out, looks for relevant information, and then comes back and delivers an answer. So that's Google search, but then so does ChatGPT and Perplexity and Claude and whatever. So what's happening now is that we need to be, it's beyond like SEO, but on steroids. And so it's not about having the keyword of restaurant Hunter Valley. It's about going, we are located here in the center of Port, and we have a menu that specializes in gluten-free food, and we have a private dining room that you can have, private dinner parties for 10 people. Okay, so that's the information that Google or the AI search goes out and looks for and comes back and wants to bring the best answer back to the person looking it up. So how can we do it as business owners? It comes back to our digital footprint. And our digital footprint, right, isn't just our website anymore. Yes, that's the gate into conversion, but we're not looking for people to come to our website to click, because they're getting solutions back over in the answer in the AI or with Google AI search. So it's also evaluating our digital footprint. And this is why I do emphasize in our community is get out and make content. Like you've got a podcast that increases your EAT ranking. So that's experience, authority, trust, and experience, expertise, trust, and authority. So that's Google's, classification of how they score you, whether you're a real person, whether you're trustworthy, and whether they would recommend you. So the goal is to make sure that we're hitting all those marks of what they categorize. So if you can rank with Google, you've got a really good chance of also coming up in ChatGPT and Perplexity and all the other search engines, because essentially same thing. People are typing in their question and AI is going out looking for that solution to bring back to that person. That's the main goal. So you have to understand, and this is why I come back to the business DNA, you have to understand it's not just about that keyword anymore. It's about the types of things that people are looking up and understanding that. You mentioned Gemini. Gemini is connected to Google, and they're just introducing now. I don't know, I'd be interested. Have you got the new integration yet with Google Business and Google Console Search in your Gemini yet?
Not yet.
It's rolling out. That'll be another really helpful tool that, again, make it really easy for business owners to access that information at their fingertips, where they don't have to go hunting and in all these different portals. And so what that means is when you're creating content, so I go, okay, your website's one thing. Make sure that your website is current and up to date, because Google, and when I refer to Google, I'm also going to refer to all the other AI search engines. They need to know that your website's up to date, that it's got relevant information, and that it answers the specific question. Now, you can go over and find that information out through your Google Search Console, and then you can also go over and understand what is it you offer, and what is it your audience is looking up. That's my crucial thing. What are those long tail keywords that people are actually typing in? And if you don't know that, have a talk to your customers. Like, that's a great point to survey them and really understand, have those human conversations to find that out as well. There's plenty of data out there, like Perplexity we were talking about. I can do a really deep research on Perplexity to find all that information out. But nothing beats that human question, right? Of how did you come to here? How did you find that? The other thing is your social media. Your digital footprint isn't just what's on your website. Google indexes short form videos. So making sure that you're turning up not just with the post these days, but with video. Again, video is a really powerful source of authority, because again, Google can see that you're a real person. So talking head videos is really powerful. And I know you help a lot of women as well. And one of the things that I know that a lot of women, we're like, oh, I don't like turning up on camera. And, often we have that hesitation. But I'm just going to say Google doesn't care whether your hair and makeup's done. It's like, just turn up, because what they do is Google just looks at it and goes, that person turns up consistently talking about this topic consistently. And so that's why the key things like making sure your captions include that information, even just your text on screen that you're putting up, all of those things are indexable now. You've got a podcast. That's a high authority piece of content. But if you can then make sure that you've got your podcasts on YouTube, because YouTube, again, second largest search engine in the world. And if you go over and when you're searching in ChatGPT, Perplexity, or whatever for a question, you know what they're scanning? YouTube. If they can find, if you're looking up, hey, I want to go to this place or I want to buy this thing, the first place that Google's looking for is Reddit and YouTube, any kind of user-generated content. So being in those places, and also written content. This year for me, I focused on having good searchable articles that are indexed. Substack, LinkedIn, these are all platforms, they're high domain platforms that people can write their articles, index them, and help them get discovered, but use them as a lead generation. So you can then put your YouTube videos inside those articles on your blog page, on your LinkedIn newsletters, on your Substack articles. So from a business owner's point of view, you can leverage that content in all those channels, which helps your domain authority, which helps your discoverability. But from a consumer's point of view, from a customer's point of view, it just helps them with the valuable information that they can consume to get to know you better so they can work with you quicker and close that gap from being a stranger to a buyer. So yeah, there's a few things that I look for as far as helping business owners is just being able to get them visible with the right style of content. And when I say the right style of content, it's more about making sure that it is, optimized for those search engines.
And really having that omnipresence.
Yes.
Yeah. I think people get a little bit overwhelmed with the idea that I have to have my website done and write articles on Substack and videos on YouTube and also do things on Instagram, and then there's TikTok, and then there's Facebook, and then there's
oh my gosh,
so many things. But you can take one idea and roll it across all of those channels. You repurpose the same piece of content. So like you're saying, for me, this podcast is going to go on the Podbean platform, and that disperses it everywhere for me. I'm also going to cut this up into 30, 45-second clips, and that's going on Instagram, and it's going on Shorts, and it's going on TikTok. And I also put this up as a blog with links back to the podcast and the YouTube and all of the things, which also gets shared on Facebook and LinkedIn. So it's not that difficult. Yes, there's a bit of setup in the first instance where you have to sync all of the things together. You have to come up with the content, but you can use the AI to help you with answering questions, giving you ideas, and then it is just a matter of batching some content and putting it out there and making sure that you are available and not somebody's best kept secret.
No, that is exactly it, isn't it? And AI, when you say it like that, it sounds really overwhelming when you've got to be on all the platforms. And how do I manage all of that? That became my obsession of going, how can I do that smarter, quicker for myself and businesses I work with? And because it was part of my job for such a long time before I was in business, I had to make sure that I could optimize things in an efficient workflow. So that's where I became obsessed of going, how can I make systems out of this? And a couple of things that you mentioned there of that omnipresence, it's about when you create content and you plan your content, if you know what people are looking up, then you make those cornerstone articles, and then you can algorithms love it when you talk about the same thing over and over again in a different way. So give it a different angle. And it's what we call content clustering. And so people love it because we can binge your content when they come across you about that topic. And algorithms love it because it gives them clarity about who you are and what you talk about. Again, you mentioned about systems. I think you and I are both obsessed with systems. And those systems help us go, okay, so I've got to have a content planner. I have what I call my content queen. That plans out a month's worth of content marketing. And that pulls in data from my researcher and my metrics assistants. And then that goes in and creates a month worth of content. Now, I created a content DNA this year or last couple of months because of how Claude can now do the task, having a content DNA, because not everyone is going to be on every platform. And that's okay. It's about understanding what your capacity is and turning up consistently on that platform. And so then it comes down from there that my AI assistants can then go out and prep my show notes for my showrunner and then do post-production with show notes. And again, these are all optimized and then be able to distribute it. Now we have MCPs and connectors inside of AI. So I don't have to manually go and put my blog up. It does it for me. I don't have to manually go and so this is where we talk about capacity. Having those AI systems in place, I can then delegate to AI to go and do that, which allows me to just turn up and do the talking and do the really important stuff. So when I write a Substack article each week, I will write it but AI has done 80% of the research work and framing it up. But I come in and that 20% that I do, I could sit there all day and write something because I enjoy writing, and I also give my perspective and my opinion and my experience in that. So when you read my Substack, that's me talking. But Claude or whatever AI assistant that I'm using has gone out and done all the research and framing to make sure those header tags are all optimized and verified. So I use it as my editor, and then I use it as my verifier. So that article still brings in business for me months and months and months down the track. So it's worth that day, me sitting there, putting the energy and effort. I mean, I can do it in, minutes. I don't need to spend the day, but I love Sunday mornings is my Substack writing day. It's where I sit and I, ideate and everything. And so you're right. It's about getting that one piece of hero content and then being able to share it. But in the case of overwhelm for business owners, start one thing. Like I had two massive projects this year. I was working night and day. I was like, I still have to keep visible. So what's the bare minimum I can do? I'll write my Substack and I'll do a scrappy TikTok, like literally scrappy, in bed, in my pajamas. I'll just turn up. And those were the videos that got thousands and thousands of views, right?
Yeah, of course.
And again, Google doesn't care whether I'm in my pajamas with no hair and makeup, right? So that's what I can recommend to people is just start with one simple thing and get consistent there. Get the data, give the data to AI so it can give you ways on how you can improve it. There's no wrong way. There's no mistakes. And one of my cringiest, and it's inbuilt in my AI, is no shame and blame. So when I see content that is aimed at you're making mistakes and you're doing it wrong, my own philosophy is you're not doing it wrong. We can just do it a better way.
I like that. There is a lot of content aimed at making you feel sad or angry or less than, and it works.
Because it works.
But it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be that way.
I see a lot of creators that have a lot of content that gets the clicks. And when I share content online and I do, share information, that's probably the biggest thing that I get in my comments is I really appreciate how you've explained it as opposed to the hype. And that's okay. Like that person that's doing the hype content has their own journey or whatever. But for me, and I feel like when you get to a certain point in your business, you don't want the hype, you want real. So whatever it is, have systems and use that and leverage that to then have the capacity to connect with your customers and clients on a real human level. Because again, Google is looking for that information gain, right? Because there's so much AI stuff out there. It can get answers for anything, right? But what it's looking for is that information gain that gives your unique perspective, your unique opinion and view on something, your experience. That's what AI wants, and that's what humans want. That's what people want. Is, anyone can go 7 steps to this, but it's how you got there, how you build your systems in your business that shortcuts the journey of going, here's the things that I did which I would avoid next time, right?
Yes. You've mentioned that you have a lot of experience in marketing, and that you've not always had your own business. You're working for other companies and everything. What has changed in the marketing world in your career?
I started my career in radio. So back in the day, I worked in Queensland and Darwin and different radio stations around Australia. And one of the common things, like I was, in my barely 21 when I started in radio, and I was working with some very big clients in the end. And every single one of those businesses came down to one thing. They wanted to reach their ideal audience, and they needed to sell stuff. So like reach and frequency, that hasn't changed. So we still need reach, and we still need to hear things multiple times fast to take action. That simply has not changed. And also the approach on how we do that is by demonstrating how people can benefit from buying the thing that you're selling, right? So that has not changed. How we communicate that has dramatically changed in that time. And like I remember, when we used to send faxes to people, like when we wanted to do a broadcast, like it was such an effective way of marketing, right? I'm telling you, fax outs were great. And emails, like I remember when I worked for a very big winery up here, and they still hadn't integrated email marketing into their business. And so they were still sending out the old, booklet in the mail. And then half of those booklets had come back, and they'd spend thousands of dollars because they hadn't set up email marketing. So I'd set that up over the years. And then all of a sudden we were able to increase sales and save money from the mail house, sending out all that collateral printing that went nowhere. And so when they did send it out, it was to a qualified audience. What else? Like I said, social media has dramatically changed how we do business. And I don't feel a lot of us really appreciate the potency and potential that it can do. And, I was talking about those scrappy TikToks that I'll make. It's because I'm sitting there going, I know that this can help somebody. And then I get a DM from somebody and they're like, hey, I that's exactly what I need. How can I work with you? And it's the times that you don't overthink things as well. But I do say that content is different. And content isn't just a social media post. Content is everything we put out online. And that's why I have a community called Content Catalyst, is because for me, once you've got those business systems in place, the engine that runs it is your content marketing. It's everything that you put out visibly online, whether it's your LinkedIn bio, your podcast, the pull-up banner that you put out when you go to a luncheon. Everything is content. And obviously AI, video, how cool is it that you and I can sit here in live time and have a conversation and we're not even in the same room? Like, to me, that blows my mind. And your phone, like, we can communicate with our audience anywhere in the world, anytime we like, live with our phone. That still blows my mind. People used to pay me thousands and thousands of dollars to market their business, and you can simply pick up your phone and do it for free.
The way that you can do business now is so incredible, and I think has been really beneficial for women in particular because of the different stages that you're in. Like on my end, I have been in small business, working for small business, had my own small business for 20 years, literally since I left high school, and before that as well. I was working as a hairdresser, and I worked in supermarkets and, you know, all of the things.
Yeah.
I've done everything since I was like 14. But anyway, being able to go through the different seasons of life and make this work for the current season that I'm in, I know that I have so many other clients the same, and you probably have the same experience, is that I used to go to an office and I used to work from the start of the day to the end of the day, and then you'd clock off and you'd be able to go home. And that worked really well for me in that period because I had the stability, I had the income, I had the personal leave when I needed it, and all of that sort of stuff. So I got to study, I got a mortgage, you know, I bought my first house and all of that. But having my own business where I'm working from home, I have somebody taking care of my 18-month-old twins right now, and I'm sitting here having a conversation with you online about business.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's so cool, isn't it? Because, look, for me, the other thing that you asked before about what's changed, the ability to work from home. That was my favorite thing over the last 5 years or 6 years. I love working from home. Don't get me wrong. I love going out and doing networking events and doing in-person consulting and things. But my favorite thing is coming into my office knowing, and I probably work way too much because of it. But how awesome is it that you've got 18-month-old twins that you can still turn up when you want, how you want, because of that capacity to do business anywhere. I think if I say nothing else to your listeners, my favorite thing, I talk about your business bestie, is so cognitive overload is so real for women, mums, running their own business, just running their family life, everything. So to get all that stuff out of their brain and into a place that can actually help them, my biggest recommendation is go and download Claude on your phone, set up your business bestie, and then basically use the voice dictation, like the voice mode. And I just dump all my brain stuff in there. And because my business bestie has context of everything, it's like, cool, what would you like me to do with it? Shall I pop that in your calendar? How about if I do park that for now, and then on Saturday morning when you do your brainstorming session, we'll pick it up from there? Or how about if I go and do this? That is such a massive thing for me. Like, so I can talk to my business bestie when I'm out on a walk. I brain dump. Like, if you're like me and you've got so many tabs open in your head late at night when you're trying to go to bed and all you can think about is all those business things that you never get to, I open up my phone and I brain dump all of that. And then I ask my business bestie to just organize it so I can just get it out and it still gets actioned. If I'm driving in the car, like I'll often be on the freeway, I can put on voice mode and like do strategy sessions. I was going down to Sydney just recently, and I was doing a presentation down there, and then I got it to be my presentation coach. So I had my presentation and I was talking it through and it was timing it for me, and it was giving me it was saying, okay, stop there, Deb. We can just tweak that bit there. That'll sound better. Okay, go. Like, what the hell? That is where you get clarity and, you know, be able to have the ability to not have that cognitive overload that overwhelms us into paralysis.
Yes, so much so. And also not having to work a presentation coach and a PA and something else into the budget, because we need all of those things in our corner, but can we afford them all? Yeah. Do they all fit in the budget? Do we have time to sit down with each individual person when it suits us, like driving down the freeway? But there's not that many coaches available on a Tuesday at 9 o'clock just because I'm driving to this presentation. You know, you really have to book that in advance. So having that tool in your pocket, in your car, chatting back to you is just, what a world.
What a world, right? You know, I just feel that we're in a look, here's the thing. Again, you open up social media and every second reel that I look at is, you know, Claude just killed graphic designers, Claude just killed, you know, photographer, whatever. But I want to say this. Claude has made, or AI has made me a better marketer, number one. I do the things that I would never get around to doing or couldn't afford to do because I didn't have the capacity and the budget at the time to, you know, employ big agencies and spend thousands of dollars doing things. So it's given me the capacity to do things that I wouldn't get around to doing. I'm going to say that AI is not here for your job. AI is here to give you the ability to do the things that you never get around to doing. But if you are one of those people that are worried that it's going to replace what you're doing, my biggest recommendation is learning how you can adapt AI into what you do. So, for example, graphic designers, there's a lady that I work with, and she is putting together AI skills and templates for her audience to use Claude for things. Because otherwise it just looks generic slop. So I've got one of our other members. She is a website expert, and she helps businesses with CRM and website installations. So yes, it means that Claude can now integrate with Kajabi or Go High Level, whatever. That doesn't mean they're out of business. What it means is that how you help your customers has evolved. I work with a photographer, and look, there's so much AI image generation out there, but I'm sitting there going, how can you help them and give them the systems and the templates and the skills so they can use AI better with your help? So think about that if you're worried about AI could take my job or my industry. It's just evolving.
For sure. I have exactly that in my business. Like, I create systems for people. One of my most recent clients are a lovely couple, and they have a coaching business, and they also have multiple kids that are young and need a lot of time and energy. So when she was sitting there on a Sunday night rescheduling all of the clients that needed to be moved around and sending everybody their meeting links and all of this sort of stuff, you're doing busy work that doesn't need to be done by a person. Absolutely, you have to turn up and do the session with your clients. You have to turn up and do specific work, but we want to keep you doing the thing that you want to be doing and have the systems and the AI and the automations do all of the other stuff for you so that you get to just turn up, one, with your energy intact, two, getting paid the way that you should be getting paid, because my hourly rate is much more important than some of the not pointless, but busy work within my business. But the AI tools allowed me also to help them put together email nurture sequences, make all of their landing pages actually sound like them rather than, you know, stiff or beige or AI slop.
Generic, yeah.
Yeah, it took the amount of time that it usually would have taken to copyright for somebody. It took all of that time and it made it minutes, and then you do your edits and, you know, back and forth with the client and that kind of stuff, but it just takes the entire process, shortens it, and gives them an amazing result in a fraction of the time that it used to take me. And I have spent months and months working with some people, and to be fair, some businesses still need that, but they're on a much larger scale, and there's many other things going on with those projects as well. But to be able to take a husband and wife team and get them their business automated by about 85%. There's only that little tiny smidge that they still have to manually do, but the system is emailing them or sending them notifications to say, did this person do this? Have you got that? You know, because you need to have the back and forth. Amazing.
So good.
difference. And it meant that they can scale their business still, the two of them working less hours than they are, having more family time, not doing late nights every night of the week, and then still making more money as well. How good is that?
So good.
You just,
So good.
you've got to get on board. AI is here and it's going to stay here. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get faster.
Honestly, what I've built in the last week alone with the introduction of, so we've got Claude Fable and we've got ChatGPT Soul 5.6. I'm building in Codex and Fable at the moment, and it just blows my mind. It blows my mind.
It's crazy in the best way.
Yeah. In the best way, right? In the best way. So tell me something, with the time that AI has given you, how have you used that?
Well, 18-month-old twins means that someone who is used to working 60 hours a week, I'm now only working about 20, maybe 15.
Wow.
I'm not doing the amount of work that I want to be doing. I am a self-confessed workaholic, but I'm so torn between the two worlds. My girls are walking and they're talking and they come out with something new every couple of hours. So I don't want to miss that. I'm spending a lot of time with family and with friends and that sort of stuff as well because of all of the baby stuff hanging on.
Can I just say, having like twins and 18-month-old twins, I mean, that is huge. That is such a massive role and job. Like that is no small feat. I'm just going to say it there. So for you to have the capacity to do that and your business is truly, it's admirable.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really love to work.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect to love being a mum as much as I do. I know that that's such an awful thing to say.
No, it's
and
not.
Really taboo for someone to go, oh, I didn't think that I'd love being a mum, but I didn't. I thought I would be back working full time after a few months and all of that sort of stuff, which is hilarious. I was absolutely delusional when I was pregnant.
Totally.
I love to get both, to be able to do both and then still also have time and energy for socializing and my relationship and, getting out and about and going to a 40th like I did on the weekend. It just doesn't happen a lot, but it's cool to still be able to have life and business and family.
That was my goal. My son is 15 now. And when I had him, I had a cheese business many moons ago. And I was working literally, 6 a.m. I'd drop him off at daycare. As soon as they opened, I think it was 7, pick him up at 6 in the afternoon, go home and work for another, 4 hours and like collapse in bed at, like literally 10. And I'm thinking at that stage, I had a food business, like a physical shop at the time as well. And I didn't have AI back then. And I was like, oh, that could have made such a difference to my life, because I can still, even when I'm yeah, I love to work, but I can go and get my laptop and sit in bed and just have it do the thing. And I can literally just sit over and just watch it do the thing and just go, yeah, that's good. Yep. Giving you that capacity where you can still be a mum, but also still oversee the essential work. That's just got to be incredibly like game-changing for you as a mum.
Yes, yeah, for sure. I am incredibly lucky to be living the life that I am. And you do sit there and feel, and especially at the beginning when I was sitting there pumping and, doing that all through the night as well and doing a little bit of work and feeding and, changing nappies and all the stuff. And I did feel like I was missing out on the social things and falling behind in business and all of that kind of stuff. But it's really about, in those moments, thinking about, I chose this and I get to do this and I get to do both. Just that there's only so much time in a day and there's only so much energy. And when you're being woken every hour and a half anyway, uh, being really grateful for having a business that allows me to stay home and being able to be their mum at the same time. It's just, yeah, this is a very lucky stage of life to be in, and be a new mum as well. And you don't get to do that twice. You don't get to be a new mum twice. So, yeah, very cool.
How would you think? How would you think that it'd be different for you without AI and trying to run a business and like manage 18-month-old twins? How do you think that'd be
I
different?
would have shut my business down.
Yeah.
It would have been too hard. Or they would have been in care, like you're saying, because I'm not sure how my business is 10 next month, 10 years old. I'm not sure how I would have felt about giving that away at the same time where I felt like I was being restricted in so many ways. Work for me has always been a really healthy outlet for my creativity, for the way that I like to solve problems and all of that sort of stuff. So I feel like I would have been really torn between putting them in care all the time and having that expense as well, and shutting the business down, which sounds awful, but I mean, that's probably what would have happened because I run events as well. So
Yes.
just, I don't know how I would have done it all without the systems, without the AI, without all of the help. So it really does, it does count for a lot.
Do you have a like a life admin, like a family life admin AI assistant?
I don't. That's something I definitely need to set up.
Yeah. I work with an ADHD coach, and I was helping her with her AI like systems, and we set up some GPTs for parents with families with ADHD, and one of them was just helping them plan like their meals and life admin, and it's just things, again, getting it out of the brain.
Yeah.
To just go, okay, this can help me. Oh, I didn't think of it like that. Yeah, it's pretty powerful, isn't it? I feel like that we're in the luckiest stage of that evolution. What's changed? Everything changes all the time. It's whether we want to lean into it and embrace it and optimize it. And for me, I'm all in that, swimming up that stream. It's like,
yeah, for sure. And it, you might have some comments on this, but it's allowing you to intentionally set up your business in a way that is suiting your life now.
Yeah.
And then change it when that season changes as well.
Yeah. Look, again, if I come back to 2020, when the world changed and we were able to have permission to work from home, as a mum with it was 9 at the time when everything happened. So being able to work from home and be able to pick him up, from my biggest driver of working for myself was so I could be there for my son to pick him up from the bus, right, from school, and be there in the afternoon rather than him having to go to after school care. That was my goal because he had been in care for such a long time growing up, and to be there to be able to take him to sports and everything. Having that flexibility as a mum to be able to be in the same house and work and also be there. I wasn't just picking up my son, I was also picking up my neighbours, she's a single mum a couple of doors up, and I'm like, I could have the capacity to also help her as a mum, with the kids, and do business and still work. And I'm happy, I work nights and weekends. It doesn't worry me. It's all the same to me. Just when I'm in a mode of working, I'll just stay in it and just keep going till the project's done. But how awesome is it that we can choose that?
Yes, for sure.
And have that acceptance that it was okay to work from home. And it's really interesting because I was involved in a corporate foundation for quite some time, and so I was dealing with a lot of male CEOs in the Sydney area, CBD, and these CEOs were very much a case of going, we need to get people back in the office because, people are lonely. And I'm sitting there going, I realize from your perspective that might work because you've got your wife at home who's managing all the life admin and the kids at home. But as a mom, and that's like I was sitting because I was part of this committee, and I'm like, but I'm here batting for the mums at home that don't have to sit in Sydney traffic and commute for 2 hours a day to get to work, then worry about how they're going to also be there for their families and also how they can still turn up. That is good for you, but from the perspective of mums, this is what works for us and this is why it gives us back. And dads, I know I spoke to lots of dads that were also, commuting for hours and hours a day. They missed out on seeing their family. So giving them that capacity to work from home and having that flexibility, it changed everything, working from home, having AI, having the ability to learn and do anything anywhere, promote ourselves anywhere with our phone. I just think we're in the best era of business, really.
For sure. I love that for all the younger founders that are coming through now as well. They're in this really cool section of business where you can see what was done and had been done and people had really clung to, well, we've always done this. It's always been done this way. And there's been such a turn, especially with the world shutting down and COVID and everybody realizing, hey, you can work from home. Didn't make a difference to me other than everybody wanted to be on Zoom and I had to put makeup on because I'd been working from home forever, but for 5-6 years at that point anyway. But we're just in such a really cool time where we've gone, okay, the old way isn't the only way. And now we've got all of these tools to help us do things from anywhere in the world. And if you're young 20-something traveling the world, you can start a business and create a personal brand and do all of those things while you're in Yacht Week in Croatia. Why not?
Why not? Live life on our terms, as I say. And whether you're employed or whether you're, working for yourself, I feel like, and here's the thing, I work with a lot of businesses that do have teams, and with AI, their team, the CEO is embracing having AI because they can see how much it helps them with planning and strategy and crunching data and all that heavy business stuff. But often their team are quite reluctant to have it on board for the fear of taking their job. And I'm going to say this to anyone listening that is employed, whether you're a VA or in a workplace with the business, is if you learn AI and how it can help you with business skills to do the job faster, better, and smarter, you will become so much more valuable, not unemployed.
That's it. Just learn how to use the tools, which is the same thing that you do in an apprenticeship for a trade or something anyway. Learn how to use the tools in the best way to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you for talking to me about all of this. I have some questions. These come from my brunch club networking event, and they are what I would call connection questions, so kind of icebreakers. I have 3 for you. So the first one is, would you rather be a genius and know everything or be amazing at any activity you tried?
Ooh, a genius sounds a lot, doesn't it? I I think that sounds, to me, that's interpreted as eccentric as well, because if you're a genius, that comes with its whole thing. I don't know. I think being good at, what was the other second option? It was about...
Be amazing at any activity you try.
Yeah, I love that.
Sounds great to me.
Right?
The next one I have for you is, if you could instantly become an expert in anything, what would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a great question. Finance. finance would definitely be the one. I feel like my brain, I love numbers and I love stats, but I definitely need the bookkeeper and the accountant, and stocks and things like that. I really admire those people that really geek out on that. That takes another section of my brain and it's harder to get into that. So yes, if I could be anything, that would be very cool.
Very cool. Last one for you of these questions. You have achieved and overcome so much in your lifetime. What are you most proud of and why?
I think the resilience to just pick myself up, dust myself off, and keep going in adversity in times when you think that's not worth it, or I should give up, basically. I feel like a lot of us give up too soon with things, and persistence is what pays off, basically.
Yes, absolutely. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us that we haven't already covered today?
Yeah, it's been a really great chat. I've enjoyed listening to you sharing what you do and helping business owners, and being a mum at that. I feel like, if nothing else, small, for me, when we get really overwhelmed by looking at a project, whether it's starting a business or whether keep going in business, it can get really overwhelming when we think we've got to do all those things. And I have an approach where what I call the 1%er. And if you do nothing else, think of that big task, whether it's auditing your website and your digital footprint, for example, or starting with AI. Put 5 minutes aside each day as soon as you start, and that 5 minutes a day, tick one little micro task off the list of that big chunky list. And at the end of the month, you'd be surprised at how that compounds of progress. So progress always beats perfection, and just turn up and just do a little bit, because those 1%ers make a huge difference.
Excellent advice. Thank you for that. And for anybody listening, where can they find you?
I hang out on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram, which is Deb Szabo _. And then I have YouTube, if they want to watch YouTube to learn more about AI. And of course, I do a Substack where they can get all of my stuff for free there. I share lots of free resources to help you get started on using AI in your business. And send me a DM, say hi. Otherwise, yes, I'm everywhere, really. I'm on TikTok, I'm on LinkedIn. You'll find me everywhere.
Type it into ChatGPT.
just type in Deb Szabo.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me on podcast today. I hope you loved this episode. If you did, please remember to share it with somebody else who you think will enjoy it too. I would love it if you leave a review, which helps me reach more people just like you. And don't forget to come and join me on Instagram @empower.health. Thank you, darling.